All rise. Oyez, oyez, oyez. Silence is commanded on the pain of imprisonment while the honorable judges of the Seventh Circuit are now seated. All those having motions to make, please to enter, suits to prosecute, or any other business before the court, come forward, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth and this honorable court. You may be seated.
No, that way. Right there. And Judge McNeil, I'm sorry, you're right there. And tell Judge to go. We don't have the numbers. Oh, Judge McDonald is here. Oh, good numbering. I tell you all to be seated, but you already are. So, good afternoon. All right, at this time, the court will recognize Madam Clerk Angela Reason to swear in the court reporter.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to transcribe these proceedings to the best of your ability, so help you God?
All right. And greetings, everyone. At this time, the court will recognize Patrick Murphy, President of the Newport News Bar Association.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I move that this court declare this a ceremonial proceeding for the purpose of swearing in Judge Matthew W. Hoffman of the Newport News Circuit Court and Judge Ryan E. Lewis of the Newport News General District Court.
All right, the court will grant your motion, and we will begin our ceremonial process. Welcome, everyone. We bring you greetings from the city of Newport News, and the court would like to take a moment to recognize the judges that have joined me here on the bench and here in the front as well. And if you all would just raise a hand when I call your name, thank you so much. Joining me is Judge Gary Mills, Judge Christopher Perpeel, and Judge Bryant Sugg, and I am Tynika Flaith, and we are members of the Newport News Circuit Court. Joining me to my left, he is judging me. He is judging me. To my left, from the Newport News General District Court, is Judge Sharice Mullen, Judge Scott Stein, and Judge Rob Saunders. Additionally, joining us from Hampton Circuit Court is Judge Michael Gayton, Judge Christopher Hutton. From Virginia Beach Circuit Court is Judge Tanya Bullock. From the Norfolk Circuit Court is Judge Gerald Jones. From Chesapeake Circuit Court is Judge Rob McDonald. Here in the city of Newport News, we also are delighted to work with the judges of the Newport News General JDR Court, Judge Kimberly Kirchen, Judge Sean Overby, Judge Jeff Roundtree, and also Judge Rebecca Robinson. We are also joined by the Hampton General District Court, Judge Selena Glenn, Judge Corey Smith, the Norfolk General District Court, Judge Joni Mahoney, Judge Jamila LaCruz, and Judge Tamika Williams was going to be with us, but I don't think that she's joined us yet. All right. In addition, the court would also like to recognize distinguished guests that have joined us to celebrate and are here in the audience. Senator Mamie Locke, Delegate Sia Price, Delegate Mike Mullen, Vice Mayor Sandra Cherry, Councilwoman Patricia Woodbury, our Sheriff of Newport News, Gabe Morgan, our Police Chief of Newport News, Steve Drew, Madam Clerk Angela Reason, who you've already met, the Newport News Circuit Court, Mr. Howard Gwynn, Newport News Commonwealth's Attorney, Mr. Edward Webb, Newport News Public Defender, Ms. Linda Curtis, who is retired Hampton Commonwealth's Attorney, Collie Owens, who joins us from the City Attorney's Office. He's our City Attorney. As you've met, Mr. Patrick Murphy, President of the Newport News Bar Association, Ms. Cartia Bassnight, President of the Peninsula Bar Association, Olivia Alexander, President of the Greater Peninsula Women's Bar Association, Ms. Stacy White, who is our Chief Deputy Clerk in the City of Newport News, Ms. Karen Roughton, and Ms. Patsy Ewell, who are clerks of the General District and JDR courts, Mr. Dean Barker, who's a regional liaison for Colonial CSB, and Ms. Mabel Washington Jenkins, our city clerk. The court would also at this time acknowledge our judicial administrators who have assisted us, along with Ms. Jenny Diascenzo, who is helping us put this together. I do welcome everyone to our event today to celebrate the investitures of Judge Matthew Hoffman and Judge Ryan Lewis, who have already been serving here in the City of Newport News, but we are delighted that you all have come to share with us in this momentous occasion. And I'm sorry, and Congressman Bobby Scott has come and joined us as well. Thank you. I'm so sorry to have missed you. And also our retired judges present, Judge Timothy Fisher. I think Judge Tench was going to join us, and he is ill, so we'll wish him the best. Also, Judge Kearns, retired from the General District Court, and Judge Vincent Conway, retired from the Newport News Circuit Court. And Judge Bruce Wilcox, retired, Norfolk. Thank you all. Did I miss anyone else? No one's going to stand if I did miss you, so I apologize right now. Thank you all for your patience. At this time, we will begin with the investiture for Judge Matt Hoffman.
Your Honor, if it please the court, I would like the opportunity to recognize and introduce Judge Hoffman's family.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And if you could please stand as I call your name. He is joined by his wife, Lori Hoffman, his daughter, Anna Hoffman, and her significant other, Andrew Sigler, his son, Jacob Hoffman, and stepchildren, Landon and Maria Vasquez.
Thank you. Welcome, family. Everybody wants to clap. It's a quiet room today. At this time, the court will recognize Senator Mamie Locke to read the commission.
To all to whom these To all to whom these presents shall come greeting. Know ye that from special trust and confidence, reposed in his fidelity, our governor, by virtue of authority vested in him by law, hath appointed and hereby commissions the Honorable Matthew W. Hoffman as a judge of the 7th Judicial District to serve a term of 8 years, commencing June 1st, 2022. In testimony whereof, our said governor hath hereunto signed his name and affixed the lesser seal of the Commonwealth at Richmond this 2nd day of May, 2022, and in the 246th year of the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Senator Locke.
Your Honor, I would, Your Honor, I move that the court administer the oath to Judge Hoffman.
And at this time, the court is going to designate for the robing at a later point, Judge Hoffman's wife, Lori Hoffman, Anna Hoffman, Andrew Sigler, Jacob Hoffman, and all those that are supposed to come for the robing after we swear you in. Got a lot of walking to do, you all. Judge Hoffman, will you join me? I think so. Where's the camera? All right, will you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as a judge of the Seventh Judicial Circuit
as a judge of the Seventh Judicial Circuit
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God. We practiced, I promise.
Judge Hoffman, will you please join the other circuit court judges on the bench?
It would be my honor.
At this time, the court recognizes James Siegel for comment.
I see you decided to go with the buttons. May it please the court, the honorable judges, Congressman Bobby Scott, members of the General Assembly, members of City Council, Sheriff and Deputy Sheriffs, Commonwealth's Attorney and Deputy and Assistant Commonwealth's Attorneys, clerks and Deputy Clerks, Chief Drew and members of the Newport News Police Department, family members and friends of Judges Lewis and Hoffman, and distinguished guests, welcome and greetings from Louisiana, where unbelievably the summers are even more humid than here. We are here to celebrate the elevation of Judge Hoffman to the Circuit Court bench and Judge Lewis to the General District Court bench. To Judge Lewis's family, I know you feel a deep sense of pride. To Judge Hoffman's family, I am sure that you share with me a feeling of surprise and disbelief. It's the same feeling that I had when he asked me to speak. I have known Matt since he first appeared in Newport News as an assistant Commonwealth's attorney with a serious demeanor, a knack for making late 1990s technology work in the courtroom, and a full head of hair. Matt exercises good judgment on and off the bench, so it did not make sense that he would risk having me speak. Then I realized that I had a bigger closet, more skeletons, and as always, the judge gets the last word. So, and also, I asked for a guarantee that I would not be held in contempt. He just laughed. That had me worried. I do not remember anything worthy of reporting concerning cases we tried when Matt was a prosecutor many years ago, and I was not doing personal injury cases, which is all Matt did for many years prior to becoming a judge. And also we decided it would be best if I did not appear before him. So as a result, I only have one war story. I appeared in front of him in General District Court Criminal Division. We decided it would be all right since it was an agreed upon continuance motion. I mean, so what could go wrong?
Oh, my.
So the Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney and I approached the bench when the case was called, and we made our joint motion. To my surprise, Matt starts asking for the grounds for the motion. My first thought was, has he just been possessed by Judge West? That caused a momentary panic because I did not know what I would do if he asked, what's your next motion? I didn't have one. And I knew that under the circumstances I would botch spelling continuance if he asked, continuance, how do you spell that? I quickly regained my bearings and realized he was jerking my chain just because he could. I resisted saying, stop jerking my chain and grant the continuance, because that would have not gone well. And after about a minute of me saying generic things about sound discretion of the court, judicial economy, and oh, by the way, it's a joint motion, he decided that he had tortured me enough and granted the continuance. Now here's the lesson for those of you who appear in front of him. While he was doing this, he kept a perfect judge's poker face. No twinkle in the eye, not the slightest hint of a grin or smirk. So it is going to be tough for you to read him unless he wants to let you. However, there's some good news. For the times when your side of the case is a lost cause, and we all have those cases, especially criminal defense lawyers, you can be sure that Judge Hoffman will be sympathetic. He's a New York Mets fan. It's the same sympathy you get from Judge Overby when you have a case that you know is a for sure winner. You are going to crush opposing counsel. And as the trial proceeds, you discover that your for sure winner is about to go down in flames. Yes, he's a Cowboys fan. Matt enjoys running. He used to enjoy it more before Judge Sugg, 6 years his senior, took up running and started leaving him in the dust. Matt does have a little bit of a competitive streak. Matt has a tattoo, and one of them is a matching tattoo that he and his wife Lori got at the same time. But only one of them cried like a baby. Matt is enjoying the extra perks that come with being a circuit court judge, like the attention city maintenance gives him. For example, in his antechamber, Matt has a very impressive collection of autographed baseballs. Because fluorescent light will cause the ink to fade, city maintenance was kind and on its own initiative changed the fluorescent bulbs out with LED bulbs. So now there will be no fading ink on his baseballs. To the members of the General Assembly and the Newport News delegation in particular, you could not have chosen better. Matt is very smart, but more importantly, he is very hardworking and cares greatly about getting it right. If he's unfamiliar with an issue that is coming before him, he will do the research, and he will fully familiarize himself with the file so he's prepared to address the issues of each case when he takes the bench. Matt listens carefully and is fully aware that it is important for everyone appearing before him to feel like they have been heard, that they know they have had their day in court. Matt also remembers what it is like to be a practicing trial lawyer and having too many cases and difficult clients. And if he starts to forget, let me know and I will remind him. Matt, I wish you many happy and healthy years of service as a circuit court judge. I know you will continue to make us all very proud. Now, I saw Matt bring his remarks over to City Hall on a hand truck, so I will yield the balance of my time to Judge Hoffman.
the court recognizes Judge Hoffman to make remarks, and there is no time limit.
Mr. Siegel, that's nice. I'm truly thankful, Jim, that you and Karen flew here from Louisiana to celebrate this occasion. Jim and I met on opposite sides of cases in 1997. He was always a zealous advocate for his clients and their constitutional rights. More importantly, we became friends and found we had similar backgrounds and shared a lot of the same interests. So Jim, over the past 25 years, has been my sounding board throughout. He and Karen have provided shelter through my storms. I'm forever grateful for our long talks on the porch, Jim, your history lessons and guidance in both my personal and professional life. I look forward to many more long talks, Jim. I just don't know how many we have left since you're so much older than I am. So in 2013, I was appointed a substitute judge. In 2016, I was elected by the Newport News Circuit Court, several of the members seated up here, as a general district court judge for both the cities of Newport News and Hampton. As far as we can find, I've been the only judge to ever sit in both cities concurrently. I served both cities until 2017 when I was appointed by the General Assembly as a general district court judge solely for the city of Newport News. And after 6 years, I was appointed a circuit court judge. And for those of you who didn't know, even though this is the 4th time I've been sworn in as a judge, this is my very first investiture. So I figure I get at least double the time. And I've tried to keep my comments to a minimum, but there are 2 ways to approach these things. You can either try to thank everyone who has gotten you to where you are, or brush with broad strokes. And since I think all of you who are here today deserve my attention and my thanks, I'm going the long route. And you can't do anything about it. I was perfectly happy sitting up here simply on this side to celebrate Judge Lewis's appointment today. However, she insisted that I have my first investiture and that we celebrate it together. As you can see, she's very persuasive. I've been told that an investiture is not for the person having the investiture, but rather it's for the community to come together and celebrate the appointment. And to honor that spirit, I'm going to recognize and thank all of the people who have helped me get here. It's a very, very long list. So, as I tell my students at William & Mary or when I'm teaching at a conference, if you need to use the restroom, please feel free to get up, go use the restroom, get some water, come back in, but I guarantee you that I will call on you when you're gone. First of all, thank you to my colleagues on the circuit court bench. I gotta look left and right. Judge Flythe, you are my ray of sunshine since I took the general district court bench in 2016, and my fellow community theater actor. My chief judge through COVID and a sounding board for anything, no matter what time, both personal and professional over the past 6 years. I look forward to many more years of working together. Judge Papil, way down there. My first chief judge in general district court and the hardest working attorney and judge I have ever met. Amen. I truly admire you and will try to work at least half as hard as you do. Judge Mills, who I first met wandering the halls of Jones, Bleckman, Waltz, and Kelly after he became a judge because, well, those were his only friends. I asked my senior partner, Mike Ware, who's out there today, who was that guy wandering the halls in the afternoons in a suit and not doing any work, because that didn't happen at Jones, Bleckman. He said, that's, and he has a particular nickname for Judge Mills, he's a judge. And I thought to myself, that seems like a really great job. Judge Mills is a prolific researcher and writer, and I appreciate all the help that you've given me to look at and analyze issues from so many different angles, and you are an incredible author of opinions. Judge Sugg, my chief deputy, Commonwealth's attorney, high-profile case co-counsel, my flag football and running club teammate, who has recently retained his title as fastest judge. But most importantly, my friend for over 25 years. Our long discussions in the stairwell behind the courthouse these past several years helped to convince me that this is a job I would love and I would enjoy, and you've been right. Thank you to my former colleagues on the Newport News General District and Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court benches. Judge Saunders, my under-judge supreme and fearless reviewer of all chief judge memos. Thank you for always reminding me that the most difficult way of doing things isn't always the best way to do things. Judge Stein, the Chief Judge in General District Court, who had to deal with me for his full 2-year term and who rose to every challenge that I brought to him. I have always admired your patience, your thoughtfulness, and diplomacy, and I try to take that with me on the bench every day. Judge Mullen, thank you for jumping in feet first into the challenges of being a judge on the behavioral health docket. It was your commitment to expanding the docket with me that helped to make it a success. Thank you. Judge Lewis, thank you for your dedication to your clients. I did number these. Thank you for your dedication to your clients as a public defender and the behavioral health docket before becoming a judge. You helped give life to my vision for the docket, and you were there every step of the way. You are going to be an exceptional judge, and I would not have wanted anyone else to take my place or my office. Also, thank you so much for keeping my wife entertained for all 8 hours while we waited at the General Assembly for our interviews this year. Judge Roundtree, I can't count the number of cases we tried against each other or the number of times we were waiting together to talk to senators, delegates, or bar organizations to get to where we are today. You have always been there with kind words and words of support. You're caring and compassionate and always thinking of others. I hope my judgments will reflect those qualities. Judge Robinson, was she able to make it? She missed it. Well, I will read it anyways. Her knowledge and attention to detail is second to none. I know whenever I see a case she ruled on, the order will be well reasoned and will clearly express her intent. She makes handling appeals from JDR much easier. Judge Overby, my moot court partner at William & Mary, formidable pickup and intramural basketball opponent, fellow Jones-Bleckman alum, and the only judge who needs to wear a hat a little more than I do. You're a true friend, an incredibly successful attorney, and are going to continue to be an outstanding judge for many years to come. Judge Kirkjian, my fellow University of Arizona and William & Mary law alum, former prosecutor, neighbor, and the only adult I ever left my children alone with for the first few years of their life. You are amazingly thoughtful, compassionate, and caring. I love being in the same building with you now so I can run difficult cases by you and that you can help me look at cases through a compassionate lens. Thank you to my current colleagues on the Circuit Court bench and former colleagues on the General District Court benches who are here from Hampton, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Williamsburg, and York County. Thank you all so much for being here to celebrate this day with me. I am truly, truly overwhelmed. You put up with me as a trial attorney and now as a colleague. My experiences either appearing before you and as a fellow judge have shaped the judge that I am up here today. Thank you to the retired judges of the circuit courts and general district courts that I appeared before, have sat for in your jurisdiction, or you have sat for me. I appreciate your wisdom, your patience, and the long talks we've had both before and after court to give me the confidence to do this job. Judge Fisher, thank you very, very much. I literally would not be sitting in this chair without you and the decisions that you've made. Thank you for your words of wisdom. Thank you for your words of wisdom, and most importantly, the 10% bigger gavel you gave me. Special thanks to my mentor judges, Judge Bruce Wilcox from Norfolk, who's here, and Judge Gerald Jones from Norfolk, who's also here. Your most valuable asset is your time and your advice, and you freely and generously have given that to me to be the best judge that I can be up here today. Thank you to the former and current members of the General Assembly who read my letters, emails, met with me in their offices in Newport News or Hampton or in Richmond. Senator Monty Mason, who couldn't be here today, Senator Mamie Locke, who's honoring us with being here, Senator Tommy Norment, Delegate Price, who's here, Delegate Mike Mullen, who's here, and Delegate Shelley Simons. Thank you all for your unwavering support so that I could do this job and do it well. I appreciate your friendship and your help getting here. I wish Senator John Miller was here to see this day. It would have meant a lot to me. However, his wife Sharon is here today. Sharon, I'm sorry, but I need you to stand. Senator Miller was the first person to ask me if I wanted to be a judge at all. I had never thought it was a realistic goal until Senator Miller asked me to come in and talk with him about being a judge. He supported me from the moment I told him yes, and I believe he is looking down on me with a smile today. Sharon, thank you for being here today and supporting me alongside John all of these years. Thank you to my clerk of Circuit Court, Angela Reason, my courtroom clerk, Yolanda Wilson, and the staff of the Circuit Court Clerk's Office. I appreciate your hard work, hard play on the kickball diamond, and dedication day in and day out to make sure my dockets are ready and my files are prepared. Thank you to Karen Roughton. Did I hear Karen was here? I think. Karen and the clerks in the General District Court. They are on the front line of our justice system. They sit in the courtroom, stand at the counter, and answer the phones. We cannot run an efficient justice system without the work they do every day. Thank you, Sheriff Gabe Morgan, and all of the deputies who provide courtroom support. You and your staff have always had my back. You make sure our courthouse and courtrooms are secure and safe, and that the individuals you are responsible for are taken care of humanely and appropriately. You, along with Rob Coleman, have your support for the behavioral health docket has made that docket possible. You made sure that that docket has a place to store its money for things that the state refuses to pay for, and we are able to raise that and make our participants better and stronger because of you. Deputy Hopkins, I know he's somewhere. Thank you for your hard work day in and day out dealing with me. There he is. There he is. We make a great team, and I look forward to many years of working with you. Thank you to Police Chief Drew. You provide the police department with incredible leadership and dedicated to making Newport News, my city, a safe place to live. You and your officers have embraced the behavioral health docket, and you have allowed me to help train every new recruit in crisis intervention and what we do. You show up for our community every day, and even a JV high school baseball game every time and again. Thank you, Chief Drew. Thank you to my colleagues, administrative staffs, and supervisors at my former employees, the Newport News Commonwealth Attorney's Office, to Mr. Gwynn, Mr. Howard Gwynn, my hero. You gave a boy from Tucson, Arizona, an opportunity to learn to be a trial attorney. You are my favorite attorney to just sit and watch, learn, and listen. You are also the best closer in the business, hands down. To the attorneys at Jones, Bleckman, Waltz, and Kelly, although my stay with you was not very long in terms of time, it was rich in terms of experience and friendships. Mike Ware, who brought me to the firm and taught me the ropes of being in private practice, and Lynn Heath, who's also here, my managing attorney, who showed me what working hard really means, even if it means researching the definition of a tree and whether or not it can be considered a crop. That's a true story. The Hampton Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, to Hampton's former Commonwealth Attorney Linda Curtis, means the world that you're here with me today along with Scott. You gave me a chance to be a supervisor and to learn the administrative side of being a Commonwealth's attorney. You always took the time to bring me into your office and teach me topics and issues that would interest me and continue my development as both a trial attorney and a Commonwealth's attorney. Your compassion for everyone you meet, your trial and leadership skills are second to none. To Hampton Commonwealth's Attorney Anton Bell, you're an amazing attorney that captures the attention of every member of every jury you are in front of. I've never been as satisfied with the results in a case as I was when I sat next to you and the verdict was read against a triple murderer that we prosecuted together, and that was a guilty. To the attorneys at Progressive House Counsel and my supervising attorney, Tom Fitzgerald, while I was coaching our sons in soccer, you asked if I knew any trial attorneys who might be interested in doing insurance defense work for a Fortune 500 company. I remember thinking on it and calling you back to tell you that I found one. It was me. You taught me how to try incidents involving motor vehicles, even though you now call them car crashes. You always looked out for me in a corporate world and are an incredible civil litigator. Without sitting by your side, I would not be here today. We're about halfway through. I'm sorry. I'm going to speed it up as much as I can, but I got 7 years of thank yous. I want to thank the Newport News Bar Association, Hampton Bar Association, Peninsula Bar Association, and Greater Peninsula Women's Bar Association, and each one of you on your judicial nominating committees. All of you endorsed me for both the General District and Circuit Court positions I've held. It is one of my highest honors to have had your support for each and all of my career goals. I want to thank all of the staff and organizations that make the General District Court Behavioral Health Docket a success. I consider the creation of the docket in 2018 the single most decision that I've made as a judge. Making that decision was the easy part. Making it come to life was only possible with the help and support of the individuals representing the organizations who have never doubted the success of that docket. The docket came together with the help of a steering committee in 2017, which consisted of now Judge Ryan Lewis from the Public Defender's Office, Andrea Budin from the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, Natalie Christian, Ryan Dudley from the Community Services Board, Marcus Dennis from the Community Justice Agency, Rob Coleman from the Sheriff's Department, and Officer Laney Acree with the Newport News Police Department. Since 2018, the docket has been supported by Southeastern Virginia Legal Aid, Steve Cash, Arvela West, and Jen Cherry with the United Way of the Virginia Peninsula, and NAMI, and the Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services. Thank you for all of your support. Of course, any program can't function without monetary support. Thank you to Mayor Price and the members of City Council who have heartily supported the funding of the docket from the outset. Unlike many city councils who do not have that backup from the city, my docket did, and that is the result of that is the success we've had. And thank you to City Manager Cindy Roth and her staff as well for making it happen. However, the staff of the docket itself is its heartbeat. The members of the CSB who help the participants day in and day out. Dean Barker's joined us today from Williamsburg, but he was one of the first to help us. Sharon Dubois, Melissa Epps, Crystal Campbell, and Carrie McNear. Brett Smith and Ivy Santos Jenkins from Pretrial Services. Thank you all. I do want to make a special thanks to our peer recovery specialist, Joe Hudson. I know Joe is here. Joe, you got to stand, buddy. You got to stand, buddy.
Hey, Joe.
Joe, you have worked as hard as I have for this docket and provide the help to the participants from a perspective only you can give them. 15 years clean and sober, Joe, you are truly an example for all of us.
Yes.
Congratulations, Joe. All right, now on to the personal ones, and I will move along, I promise. I want to thank the other very special people who are here today that made me the person and the judge that I am. Thank you to Mike Goodov and Beth Ufkes. It was a pleasure trying so many cases against both of you when I was at Progressive. Mike, you are one of the best plaintiff's attorneys I have ever seen in action, and I'm still not over the beating you gave me during my first civil jury trial. It remains my biggest loss as a defense attorney, which I will never forget. Beth, you are always prepared and straightforward in both your approach to the cases we had together and as a friend and boss to Lori. Your honesty, candor, friendship, and fight for your clients are second to none. Thank you to Richard Atlee Sr., who met with me over 10 years ago to discuss what qualities practicing attorneys, delegates, and senators want to see in a judge. You always found time to meet with me, take my calls, and make calls on my behalf. I would not be up here today without your guidance, advice, and friendship. James Allen Patterson, I know he's here and he's cringing in the back. I use his middle name because he's the only person on the face of the earth who's allowed to call me by my middle name, Woodrow. Jim is the youngest of 4 brothers, and I truly believe he made me an honorary Patterson just so he could have a younger brother to pick on. Some people have an angel on their shoulder to whisper good advice in their ear. I have a Jim Patterson. We were both attorneys at the Commonwealth Attorney's Office in Newport News, and Jim eventually became my supervisor. We tried many homicide cases together, and I learned to pay attention to detail and look at things from different angles because of him. I was so upset when he left prosecuting the first time to go into private practice, and when he had his first retained DUI trial against me, I called him last. I called every other DUI case before his and then turned the docket back over to Judge Harvell. That's right, to call every other traffic case on the docket before calling Jim's DUI case. Needless to say, he didn't make much money that day on an hourly basis. I think he's forgiven me since then, seeing as we worked together at Progressive for over 9 years, but just in case, I'm going to apologize in front of all of these people today, Jim. I'm sorry for calling you last, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you to Kathy Krinick. I remember preparing for my first case against you in 1997. I was nervous and maybe even a little bit scared after all of the things I'd heard. But after taking a beating from one of the best attorneys I have ever met, you took me aside and told me what I had missed, and most importantly, how not to let it happen again. You have been here for me since then, and you are still there now for me 25 years later. That's you, Kathy. My administrative assistant, Sarah Slayden. Sarah worked on the criminal division for General District Court for over 15 years when she decided to retire. But when she did, I told her about my plans for the behavioral health docket and asked if she'd be interested in unretiring for just 20 hours a week as the docket manager. Little did she know that it would turn into 30 hours a week and then a full-time job. After working with her on the docket for 4 years, there was no other choice than Sarah to be my administrative assistant in circuit court. Sarah has the patience and demeanor to keep me organized and put up with me for 8 or so hours a day, 5 days a week. I would not want to do this job without you. My mother and 2 younger sisters and their families could not be here today. They still live in Tucson, Arizona, where I grew up. I'm lucky to have them in my life, and I know that they wish that they could be here today. My dad passed away almost 10 years ago, and I miss him a lot. I keep a book, for those of you who have been in my office, that he wrote right about the age I am now. And he told me how proud of me he was when I became an attorney, and I know he would have been proud to see me sitting up here as a judge. My Uncle Howard is my father's youngest brother. He and his wife, my Aunt Susie, came down here from Philadelphia today. They're turning around tomorrow morning to go babysit, and I really appreciate the efforts they made to come here today. Uncle Howard's 10 years my father's junior. He looked up to my dad and has told me about a number of their adventures in New York City, some of which are considered child neglect these days. Uncle Howard and Aunt Susie have been there for me my entire life. I have run every major life decision by Howard, and his advice has always been sound. Since coming to the East Coast for law school from Tucson, Uncle Howard and Aunt Susie have been my closest family, and without his advice and support, I would not be the person that I am today. My daughter Annabelle. I know it wasn't easy growing up with your dad as a prosecutor and working 50 or 60 hours a week in private practice. I will not lie to all of these people out here and say it was a picnic raising you, but I have great stories to tell. In fact, I may have won a few jury trials thanks to you. I always explain the difference between direct and circumstantial evidence to juries when I was a prosecutor by explaining that my daughter Annabelle was 4 or 5 years old and there were cookies in the kitchen. And I told her that she couldn't have any of those until after dinner. About 15 minutes later, I saw cookies missing from the tray, crumbs on the floor, and chocolate on your fingers and mouth. For those of you who have heard this already, I'm sorry. I asked why you ate the cookies after I told you not to, and you said, "Did you see me do it?" Although I didn't have any direct evidence, I'm pretty sure a jury would have convicted you based on those circumstantial facts alone. I will always cherish the plays at the community theater we were in together, our lunch hours in my office when you worked in the clerk's office, and our Sunday dinners. Those were some of the best times that we've had together. You have grown up into such a wonderful person, and I know you will do great things. Drew, I forgive you for taking my daughter to Detroit, and know what a great person you are, and that you will continue to take care of her. You are perfect for her, and thank you. To my son, Jake, thank you for letting me be such a big part of your life growing up. You never once complained that I was around you and your friends constantly for the first 16 years of your life. I loved every minute of the years of driving to soccer practices and games to coach you and your best friends who became my adopted sons, Connor Murphy and Ahmed El Sayad. I would not have wanted to spend my weekends any other place than on the pitch coaching and watching you play. I'll never forget chaperoning our team's trip to England and your backheel goal at the IMG Fields in Florida. You did all of that while excelling in school, graduating with an IB diploma from Warwick and a degree from William & Mary. I enjoy the time we do get to spend together now, and I'm so proud of you and the success you will continue to have. To my step-twins, Landon and Maria, you haven't known me as long as most of the people in this room, but I consider myself lucky to have two smart and funny teenagers in my life again. There have been huge changes for all of us over the past few years, but you have both been everything a stepdad could hope for. Maria, you are so smart and funny, and I love putting our heads together to play jokes on your mom. Landon, I love talking to you about history and baseball and watching you play sports. You are always willing to eat new foods with me and do new things. I look forward to being a part of your lives and watching you grow up into amazing adults, just like Anna and Jake. Finally, yes, I said finally, to my bride, Lori, we're celebrating our 5th month anniversary today. This is the only part she hasn't reviewed. I don't know where you find the strength or why you stand by my side, but you do each and every day. I know it has not been easy moving from your hometown of Hampton to Newport News. Having to deal with my ambitions and my inability to slow down or just stop, whether it's working, running, or cleaning, and enjoy what we have built together. You keep me firmly grounded and have always supported me 100%. I will never take you or what we have together for granted. I love the life we have together and would not want it any other way. You are the kindest person I know, and I'm a better person, husband, father, and judge because you are my wife. Lori, you'll always be my guiding light. The quote is, "It takes a village to raise a child." Although I didn't grow up here, it took a village to raise this law student, attorney, general district court, and now circuit court judge. All of you who I've mentioned and those of you who I didn't, and there are many of you left out there, You are my village. It is the highest honor to have your entire village support you and have the faith and trust in you to make the right decisions in the cases that come before you day in and day out. I promise each and every one of you who appear before me, whether attorney, plaintiff, or defendant, that I will be prepared, I will listen, and I will make the very best decision I can based on the facts and the laws in each and every case. And in the immortal words of Judge Harvell, one of my true heroes whose robe I had the opportunity to wear when I first became a judge, and the chair that I have sat in courtroom B, if you are unhappy with any of my decisions, you have a right of appeal. Thank you to everyone today.
All right, thank you. We are going to move to the investiture of Judge Ryan Lewis, and the court recognizes Patrick Murphy.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it please the court, I would like the honor of introducing Judge Lewis's family and friends present here today.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And if you could please stand.
Aww.
If you could please stand when I call your name, or rest in the arms of your mother. We have her husband, Andy Perry. Her parents, Bernie and Debbie Lewis. Her son, Charlie Lewis Perry.
Hi, Charlie.
Her mother-in-law, Ingrid Perry. And close family friends, Sarah Smitke, Mark and Denise Smitke, Alexa Wa Quaisbarth, Brenda Wa, Chris Quaisbarth, and Alan Berry. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. The court now recognizes Delegate Marcia Price to read the commission.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To all to whom these presents shall come, greeting. Know ye that from special trust and confidence reposed in his fidelity, our governor, by virtue of authority vested in him by law, hath appointed and hereby commissions the Honorable Ryan E. Lewis as a judge of the 7th Judicial District to serve a term of 6 years, commencing June 1st, 2022. In testimony whereof our said governor hath hereunto signed his name and affixed the lesser seal of the Commonwealth at Richmond, this 2nd day of May, 2022, and the 246th year of the Commonwealth.
Your Honor, I move that the court administer the oath to Judge Lewis.
All right, thank you. This is going to be the best oath ever.
I'll get you snacks in a minute.
Charlie, hey. Okay, we're going to do this oath with Mom. Okay? All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge all the duties incumbent upon me
and discharge all the duties incumbent upon me
as judge
as a judge
of the 7th Judicial District
of the 7th Judicial District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Andy Perry to come along with Charlie so that you can do the robing. Now, Charlie. Will Charlie come
Charlie's
with me?
being arrested.
I'll take your jacket.
Thank you, ma'am.
So great. Hi, buddy. Oh, thank you. Oh, my paper. Judge Lewis, could you bring my paper as well? Yes. At this time, Judge Lewis, would you please join us on the bench along with your colleagues? The court, at this time, recognizes Mr. Andrew Gordon for comments. Hey, you know, it's fine. He can come up.
Well, I'm Andrew Gordon, and my claim to fame is that I know Ryan Lewis. And, I've had the privilege of working with her for 10 years at the Public Defender's Office. Now, I was very honored when Ryan asked me to come speak at her ceremony, but in the same breath, she said, "You got to keep your remarks to 2 minutes, because nobody wants to hear you talk about me for longer than that, and everyone's going to get bored and hungry." But the thing is, I don't care. I'm going to speak my truth about Ryan, and you're going to have to sit and take it, Your Honor. But you know what? 2 minutes is a long time for Ryan Lewis, because Ryan has the unique ability to speak and argue at warp speed. Yes. Not just warp, ludicrous speed. Looking at the face of the court reporter, the poor court reporter that has to transcribe her arguments, you can see the sheer panic. And so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it was fast, but it was also very effective. Not just the quantity of argument, but the quality as well. So as I mentioned, I met Ryan a little more than 10 years ago when I joined the Public Defender's Office. When I joined, she was the most warm and friendly and encouraging person in the office. I was actually assigned to shadow her for a few days when I joined, and really this was an unfair standard to set. I saw Ryan navigating courtrooms, speaking to prosecutors, meeting clients, arguing cases, doing things on the fly. And I was struck by two things. One, how incredibly difficult this job is. And the second was how effortless she made it look. Everyone Ryan meets, she charms. Now, this was back in 2012, where the Newport News bench was a little different. And I'm trying to think of the most diplomatic way to say it. There were some intimidating faces on the bench a little bit. None of you here. No one here. But it didn't matter how ornery the judge was. Ryan could charm anyone. And you could see the judges soften a little bit when she was up speaking. And so, as I said, it was an unfair standard. And from that day forward, she only grew into a more effective litigator. And the term for Ryan that we use in the office is rock star, because that's what she was. She was an unstoppable force in our office. You see, Ryan naturally becomes the boss of any organization or group or conversation that she takes part in. And she's got this ability to tell you what to do and make you think it was your idea all along. And honestly, we're all the better for it. I have a theory that the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office actually was the driving force behind her judicial appointment because they wanted to remove her from the chessboard. They wanted to take her out of commission. No, I kid. Ryan was very well respected across the aisle, and her requests were very reasonable.
Always.
That being said, I did see a number of prosecutors just wave their hands up and say, I surrender, I tap out. What is it you want in this case? Now, some of you may know Ryan has a master's degree in psychology. Her dad is actually a clinical psychologist, so there's some type of family predisposition for studying and understanding others. But what you need to know is the second you start talking to Ryan, she's trying to diagnose you. She is peering inside your mind and figuring out what makes you tick. And if that sounds creepy, it's because it is. But I think her heart is in the right place. She has a genuine desire to understand what motivates people, what challenges people. And what better tool do you use as a judge? Judges are tasked with judging and sentencing people based on what they did on a single day. And that certainly requires understanding. And Ryan's understanding, that leads her to compassion. And she is truly one of the most compassionate people you will ever meet. Now, walking into her office, you might find a few law books, a few, but mostly you're going to see psychology textbooks. You're going to see thick, obscure textbooks. And the funny thing is the law books, it looks like they have the shrink wrap on them, like they haven't been touched as much. But the DSM-5 is this well-worn book that's falling apart, as if she consults that every day. But Ryan knows laws too, so don't worry. She knows all the best laws. Her compassion and her understanding and this reliance on psychology is what makes her such a natural fit for the behavioral health docket. And if you don't know what we're talking about when we're talking about the behavioral health docket, come to a graduation. Come on October 27th. Is that right? Is that the? Okay. Yes. Thank you. Come see our graduation and come see the transformative power of compassion and therapy. Come see a real solution in criminal justice, of which there are very few. Now, another thing about Ryan is that she has a scarily accurate memory. She will remember things that you said 10 years ago. And what she does is she will use your words against you and make you look like an idiot. For all you lawyers who might appear in front of her, I promise you will not get something over on her. She is going to remember every word you said. She's going to play it back in her cyborg brain, and she is going to know what you said. So make it count. And don't hope that she just overlooks something. She's not going to. She's going to catch everything. In fact, Elizabeth calls her Rain Man in her office for her ability to just recall things. She also seems to know where everyone is supposed to be. She has this photographic memory of people's schedules. In fact, I do have a planner, but Ryan was really my planner for 10 years. And so now I'm kind of in trouble. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. So you still have to do that. You still have to tell me where I need to go. I can hear the wrap it up music that Ryan is telepathically sending me right now. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to fire off some mildly embarrassing fun facts about Ryan, and you lawyers can use them as you see fit in your litigation in front of Judge Lewis. 1, Ryan does interact with human beings, as I understand. Judges have to do that on occasion, but her preference is dogs, always. Every human being is going to be second to dogs, and that even includes her husband, Andy. Ryan has an unhealthy obsession with Bon Jovi. She even made her wedding band learn 2 Bon Jovi songs. And that's probably the one person she would leave her husband Andy for. So you would have to just, what are you going to do? 3, Ryan does not love the color pink. In fact, she kind of hates it. So wear pink at your own peril as you appear in front of her. Ryan wants to outlaw automatic transmissions on vehicles. She thinks everything should be a standard transmission. I agree with you. Ryan has run an absurd amount of races. Since I've known her, she's run about a dozen half marathons, and she has complained about every single one. Ryan is a vegetarian, but she likes cheese. In fact, one time, and I'm not 100% clear on the details, she ate so much cheese she had to have her gallbladder removed. And I think that's what happened. So I don't know how you're going to use that one in court with her, but oh well. Ryan did go to law school, but her law school no longer exists. I'm told that it still counts, so I think it's, I mean, you know, it's kind of convenient. Yeah, I'm a lawyer. Where'd you go to law school? Oh, you can't. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And finally, Ryan is simply meant to do this. She's only been on the bench a few months, but you can just tell this is such a natural fit for her. Like the other judges in here, she has no problem ruling against me. That comes a little too naturally to her. But she's just doing a fantastic job. And I said at the beginning that my claim to fame is that I know Ryan Lewis, and you know, I was kind of joking, but I'm not. I'm so proud to have a role in her story, to play a part in this. I'm so proud to have worked with her. I'm so proud to call her a friend. And I am so proud to call her Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon. At this time, the court will yield so that Judge Lewis can give comments.
I don't know how I can follow Mr. Siegel and Judge Hoffman and Mr. Gordon, and I think my several pages that I've written are just a failed attempt, but I will try my best. I told Judge Hoffman that we had to share this investiture because I think I have maybe 10 people here, 15, and everybody else that's here is here for Judge Hoffman. So it would have been a very different crowd had it not included him. But my remarks will not be nearly as long, and I will get us moving very quickly. And plus, I talk very fast. That's true. That's very true. And sorry, Sue. Apologies for 10 years of speed talking. So I will keep my remarks quick and brief. First, I have to thank Senators Locke and Mason, Delegates Price, Simons, and Mullen. I am honored and grateful to each of you for placing your trust in me to give me this opportunity to hold this position. I will strive every single day to be worthy of this appointment and to fulfill the oath that I have taken now twice. To my parents, Debbie and Bernie Lewis, I would not be here today if it were not for the two of you. My mother is a special education teacher who gave up her career to raise, don't do that, to raise my brother and me. My dad is a retired clinical and forensic psychologist, so yes, I have been in therapy for 39 years. I think to a certain extent they started preparing me to be a judge at a very early age. My parents had this frustratingly progressive approach to parenting and to punishments in particular. When my brother or I misbehaved or broke the rules, we had to sit down for a family discussion about our conduct, not unlike a trial. And in those discussions, after identifying what we had done wrong, the case having been proven, our parents tasked us with deciding on our own punishment. Meaning that we had to sentence ourselves. On many occasions, I imposed a harsher punishment on myself than they would have imposed, having only told us after we had already pronounced our sentence. So there were countless occasions where I grounded myself for a week and they would have just taken away TV privileges for a night. So little did they know what they were preparing me for. My parents persevered through the challenges of raising me, an extroverted, stubborn, sometimes histrionic, headstrong daughter who didn't like the rules and did not accept no as an answer. So she continued to argue and negotiate her position, often with begrudging success, though admittedly only with my mother. So I guess you could say I was guilty of forum shopping even then. But I don't think either of them was surprised when I became a lawyer. I am the person that is before you today because of the values that were instilled in me by my parents. Through all the trials and tribulations of raising me, my parents were steady and consistent in making sure that despite any shortcomings, I was a good human being. They instilled a sense of compassion for those who are less fortunate, a calling to public service modeled through their many contributions to their community, kindness toward others, and a sense of humor and humility when encountering life's challenges. And they are two incredible people, and I'm very lucky to be their daughter. To my husband, Andy Perry, I love you. You're my favorite. Thank you for your unwavering love and support, basically since the day we met. You are the perfect partner for me, bringing a sense of calm and balance and relentless positivity to my life when I don't always demonstrate the same. Thank you for putting up with me and coming along for the ride. You and Charlie have made my life very rewarding, and I can't imagine it without you. And apologies for the disruption that Charlie has caused. He's been banished to outside of the room. Being his mom is the best job I didn't think I wanted, and for those of people who know me know I was pretty vocal about my desire not to have children, and now I have one, and I like him, you know. I'll admit, this one time I was wrong, but I can't imagine life in any other way than having him, and he's outside. That's on the record. One time. Okay. So after getting my master's degree and graduating from the law school that has in fact closed its doors, I moved home to Virginia from Indiana, and I struggled to pass the Virginia bar. In fact, I failed the Virginia bar twice. After failing the bar the second time, I got my results in mid-October, and my friend Sarah said to me, well, you should probably dress as a lawyer for Halloween because you're never going to be one in real life. Okay. Yeah, so, no, it's funny, it's okay, I did pass. So Sarah can get away with saying something like that to me because she kept me alive and hydrated during my years living in Indiana. Sarah and her parents, Mark and Denise, and her siblings all embraced me with open arms and invited me to Friday night dinners, to weddings, to vacations, to holiday celebrations when I was hundreds of miles away from my own family. I know that I probably owe my life to Sarah 2 or 3 times over. I am so lucky to have bonded with you during the abnormal psych class where we were standing outside looking at the green sky after a tornado siren had gone off. Whole class got up, went outside. It's a little bit weird for me because I've been in Indiana for like 2 weeks, and they were like, yeah, no, let's go outside. There's a siren. We should probably not, but it's the Midwest. It's fine. So Mark and Denise, thank you so much for allowing me to adopt your family as my own, and thank you for making the trip here today, all the way from Indiana. I would not be here today, and I'm going to say that a lot, but if it were not for the eventual good hiring decision made by Bo Webb, the public defender for the city of Newport News. I interviewed with Bo for the first time in April of 2011, and he didn't hire me. About 2 months later, I received a phone call from a 757 number, and it was Mr. Webb. And the conversation went something like this. This is Edward Webb with the Newport News Public Defender's Office. Are you still unemployed? I was, and so I responded yes. And he said, well, okay, well, we might have another position opening up soon. So, okay, thanks. And that was the conversation. About 2 months after that, I saw that the posting for the Public Defender's Office in Newport News position had been posted and was still unemployed, and though I had passed the bar by then. And so I decided to swallow my pride and apply for the job a second time. And I am so profoundly grateful that I did. I spent 10 years at the Newport News Public Defender's Office, and when I say it was the best 10 years of my life, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I owe so much to you, Bo, who's back there somewhere. I have formed lifelong friendships. I met my husband. I have a family. I'm a judge. All made possible because you finally decided to give me a chance as a public defender in your office. And you have ruined me for all future bosses. For those of you that don't know Bo or think you know Bo, you would all agree that he's a quiet, reserved, casually aloof individual, a tough nut to crack. What you probably don't know, and wouldn't unless you've had the privilege of working for him, is that he cares far more deeply than he will ever let on. He is a relentless advocate for both his clients and his staff. This isn't a job to him, it's a mission, and the mission isn't over. But he's rightfully proud of the culture he has established at the Newport News Public Defender's Office. While he doesn't, what he doesn't do is throw around any kind of false praise or even a fake smile. So you know that when you see that smile, or you get a laugh, or you get a compliment, you've really earned it. In the end, he's the reason that so many talented lawyers still remain at the Newport News Public Defender's Office, because it ain't the pay. And he's a huge reason, I'd say he's a huge part of the reason why I am here today. It has truly been a pleasure working for you, and sorry I gave you COVID in 2020. Apologies. To Andrew Gordon, Dream Team, my professional partner in crime, the brains behind our dream team. He's my PR hype man, a voice of reason, and my moral compass. You truly are one of the best lawyers I have ever seen and one of the best people I have ever met. Thank you for helping me sound smarter over the last 10 years by editing everything I've written, every motion, every letter, every speech, adding concise sophistication to my nonsensical ramblings. I'm a bit lost without you, and without your help writing this paragraph, I don't really have the words to sufficiently express my gratitude to you or convey how much your friendship has meant to me over the last decade. Also, I'm sorry that I made you change offices 3 times in 10 years, but I wanted to keep talking to you through the wall. And so I miss that, and thank you for your friendship. Speaking of incredible attorneys, Jessica Crossett. I still want to be you when I grow up. And you are an all-around badass, and I miss talking to you through the other wall. Thank you for being you. You're amazing. Erica Bryant, you have been looking out for me since my very first day at the Public Defender's Office. You made me look forward to coming to work each day. No matter what kind of day I had in court or dealing with clients or colleagues, seeing you always made my day a little bit better and a little bit brighter. You've been my #1 cheerleader for over 10 years now, and I can't tell you how much I value having you in my corner. You walk into a room and you bring it to life. You have absolutely no idea how important you are to me and to everyone you work with. If you were paid what you are worth, you would make more than all of us. Thank you for being a source of sisterhood and support and entertainment for all of these years. To Alan Barry, there is not a single story or anecdote I can share that is appropriate in this setting. So I'm just really happy you made the trip here. Thank you. To Judge Hoffman, I am here today because of you. And I know I've said that several times, and for each person, I do mean it. But really, thank you does not begin to convey the gratitude that I have for you and the crazy suggestion that I might be a suitable candidate to step into your enormous shoes as a General District Court judge and someone who could take your place on the behavioral health docket. You have changed my life. And not only my life, but that of each and every participant who has come before you on the docket. You have touched the lives of so many people who have struggled with mental illness simply by demonstrating empathy and compassion and understanding. I am so proud to be a part of the docket that you created and will do everything in my power to protect your legacy. Thank you for believing in me as I am here today because of you. Now, an attorney that has appeared in front of me a few times since I took the bench told me that I reminded him of Judge Flythe. But he was very quick to clarify in only a very small way, and I needed to continue to improve, and then perhaps one day I will almost be as good a judge as she is. You know exactly who it was. This guy. So it was a great compliment to be referenced in the same sentence as Judge Blythe. Thank you for being a confidant and a source of encouragement and guidance and support. I aspire to someday, after trying very hard, to be worthy of a comparison, as you are a role model for all of us, and I appreciate your friendship and encouragement. And I have to thank one of the legends of the Newport News bench, the Honorable Timothy Fisher, who's behind the podium. Judge Fisher, thank you for the many lessons that I learned in your courtroom, some of them, albeit still learning or learned the hard way, like the power and persuasiveness of silence. Also, Judge, I'm still learning it. I don't think I have it mastered just yet. Also, Judge Hoffman will echo this. Thank you for retiring. Thank you, sir. The reality is I would not be up here without Judge Fisher deciding to conclude his remarkable career, which in all seriousness was far sooner than anyone in the Newport News Bar would have liked. Mostly the defense bar, but I think maybe everybody. So thank you. I would like to thank my mentor judge, Judge Mahoney. When I received my mentor assignment, Judge Hoffman told me how wonderful you are, and he was absolutely right. Thank you for your support, and thank you for crossing the bridge tunnel to get here today. I really appreciate it. To my fellow General District Court judges, thank you for the warm welcome I received to the bench. You are so kind and very tolerant of my almost daily questions, calls, and texts for assistance. Judge Stein, a fellow early bird, had to endure the brunt of my very early morning inquiries, and he did so with the utmost graciousness. So I very much look forward to serving alongside of you all in the coming years. I want to share my appreciation for Karen Rounton, who I don't believe is here, and all of the General District Court clerks who have kept me in line and out of trouble. They are a very hardworking group of women who go above and beyond to aid the judges and help us stay in line and not look stupid. And I really appreciate each and every one of them for coming to me more often than I'd like to point out the mistakes that I've made. But it is all in the interest of making sure everything is done right, and they know how to do it. To Sheriff Morgan, you have an incredible team of deputies that are working for you. As a lawyer, I interacted with bailiffs in the courtroom every day, not really realizing how difficult I made their jobs when I was a lawyer. But I have a new appreciation from the bench for all of the deputies who keep me safe and keep the courtroom in line. I thank each and every one of you for making my job a little easier, and I appreciate you very much. Davila, it's been a really fun month. Thank you. I want to express gratitude to the Behavioral Health Docket team because, I'll be wrapping it up, sorry. It was such a pleasure working with the Behavioral Health Docket team as an attorney, and I am so honored now to be working with you as a judge. I know that this just wouldn't be possible without the incredible people that we have collaborating. So I want to thank everybody for their time and commitment to this docket. It would not be a success without each and every one of you. All right, we're wrapping up. Thank you to the bar associations, the Newport News Bar, for hosting this event. I am honored to have received your endorsement as well as that of the Peninsula Bar Association and the Greater Peninsula Women's Bar Association. Thank you for your contributions to our legal community. The Newport News Public Defender's Office is the best public defender's office in the state. Am I biased? Yes. But is it true? Also, yes. Yes. They're an incredible group of people. They're amazing. And I was lucky to be a part of that team for as long as I was. Uh-oh, Charlie's been arrested. Yep.
He's doing so well.
All right. Well, so I have other friends and family who I would like to acknowledge and chat about and tell stories about, but in the interest of wrapping this up and getting my child out of custody, I will just say Alexa and Brenda and Chris and Brett and Aaron and Haley and Tim and Ingrid, thank you for the years of love and support. I value each of you and appreciate you being here today.
the court recognizes Charlie Perry as the youngest to preside over proceedings, and he is joining us on the bench today. At this time, the court recognizes again Mr. Murphy, President of the Newport News Bar Association, to bring greetings from the bar.
Thank you, Your Honor. It is an honor and privilege to bring greetings from the Newport News Bar Association to all assembled here today for this auspicious occasion. Congratulations, Judge Hoffman. Congratulations, Judge Lewis. As has been alluded to earlier, while a General District Court judge, Judge Matthew Hoffman was the leading figure in the creation of the Newport News Behavioral Health Docket. This docket strives to help its participants by encouraging them to get the assistance that they need to overcome their challenges. This docket changes lives. Judge Hoffman now brings that spirit of service that led to the creation of the Behavioral Health Docket to the Circuit Court, and I'm excited to see the legacy he will create in service to the community in his new role. In addition to her other duties, new General District Court Judge Ryan E. Lewis has joined Judge Sharice Mullen in presiding over the Newport News Behavioral Health Docket. Prior to becoming a judge, Judge Lewis was an attorney in the Newport News Public Defender's Office and was involved in the Behavioral Health Docket, and then and now has a passion for its success. I look forward to seeing this dedicated public servant, Judge Lewis, continue to thrive in her role as a General District Court judge. Our community is and will be well served by Judge Hoffman and Judge Lewis. They both realize that as a judge, they can make a positive difference in the individual lives of the people that come before them in their courtrooms, and by doing so, make the community a better place. Judge Hoffman and Judge Lewis, on behalf of the Newport News Bar Association, I wish you both good health, discernment, and wisdom as you serve Newport News. And now, I would like to present each of you with a small token to commemorate this occasion.
No, you can stay there, okay. No, I think you can get it from here. You might come this way.
I'll leave it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. At this time, the court recognizes Ms. Cartia Bassnight, President of the Peninsula Bar Association, to bring greetings from the PBA.
Good afternoon, everyone, to our delegates, to the judges, and our guests. It is quite an honor to be part of this investiture, and as Judge Lewis mentioned, I am glad that it's done together. I'm glad that it's done together because Judge Lewis and both Judge Hoffman have so many qualities that are similar and in common. Although Judge Hoffman has been on the bench for quite some time in his season, they still have some of the same characteristics and qualities that need to be on the bench. When I think of both of them, some words come to mind: fairness, dedication, passion, equality, up for the job, up for the challenge, and dedicated to make things different and make things new. I had the opportunity to interview the both of them, and although we were on Zoom, it was almost like through the camera you can feel their passion and you can feel their dedication, and that they are willing to bring so much to Newport News. Judge Hoffman, as so many have already said, you've made your legacy with the Behavioral Health Docket. Judge Lewis, who has a background in psychology, is almost sliding right into his shoes. And she has the passion to also continue that legacy and then add her own things to it to make it even better. In today's time where mental health is so important, and where before we could look at someone or it was so easy to spot, it comes in so many different forms and fashions today. And so for the individuals who can recognize those things, who can understand where defendants are coming from, will also take those in consideration and render in their opinions. They both are stern. They both are fair. Like Mr. Siegel, I had the same similar experience in front of Judge Hoffman. I bought a motion that I thought was going to be, this is easy breezy, in and out. Judge Hoffman was like, do you have any case law to go with that? Your Honor, I've never had to present case law on this particular motion, but can you give me a minute? Sure, Ms. Bass Knight. And in fact, he even pulled out his book, and we got it together, and he made a fair ruling. I've had the opportunity now to come before Judge Lewis on one time. So far, in my first time before her, unfortunately, I was literally at the exit, and an accident happened, and so now I'm 45 minutes late for court. This case had been continued 3 times due to COVID. I got on the phone with opposing counsel, and I said, can you beg her to please wait? I do not want to continue this case. Now, I'm not saying Judge Lewis is going to wait for anybody to be 45 minutes late to court, but obviously I think she understood and had been made aware of the accident. Anyway, she waited, and her demeanor on the bench was exactly what I would imagine it to be. She listened, she took her time, she made sure that both plaintiff and defendant were heard. She went in the back, she came out, she made a ruling, and then gave us a speech on why she made that ruling. Judge Hoffman is the same way. I consider him to be stern, but he's fair. He's going to take everything into consideration. He's going to make sure that he's looked at the law. And like me, if you don't have anything or you don't know it, he will go out and pull his book. I believe that they're going to both do excellent and excel in their new positions. I believe that Newport News has 2 individuals now who are going to help to continue to make change in the court, which of course is going to cause change in the citizens that come before them and overall change in the city. In the last investiture, which included Judge Overby, Judge Mullen, Judge Burchin, did I pronounce that correctly? And Judge Flife, I had the opportunity to speak, and I labeled them the A-team. So Judge Hoffman, although you've been on the bench for quite some time, in your new position to the circuit court, welcome to the A-team. And to Judge Ryan, also welcome to the A-team. Stellar judges, joining those already who are doing such an excellent job in this court, in this community, with also a wonderful clerk of courts. So again, to you both, congratulations. And on behalf of PBA, we do have a presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Bass Knight. The court now recognizes Ms. Olivia Alexander, President of the Greater Peninsula Women's Bar Association, to bring greetings from the Greater Peninsula Women's Bar Association.
Good afternoon to the court, to the honored guests, to everyone here today, and especially to our new judges, Judges Hoffman and Lewis. As has already been stated, I am here on behalf of the Greater Peninsula Women's Bar, and as many of you may know, both of our new judges have been members of the Greater Peninsula Women's Bar for some time now. We are honored to have them as part of our board, and frankly, both of these judges in their lives, professionally, personally, and as judges now, have really embodied in so many ways our Bar Association's guiding principles, specifically facilitating and improving the administration of justice, promoting the delivery of legal services to the entire community, fostering civic and community service, and promoting an increased understanding by the public of the legal system. And people that are up here have already discussed pretty extensively their involvement in the mental health docket and their many efforts, both as attorneys and now as judges, to bring justice and to bring better services to our community. And back in 2016, when Judge Hoffman was appointed as an interim judge, he was quoted as saying, "I want to make sure that every citizen of both Hampton and Newport News, when they come into my court, they feel they've been heard, they've had a fair hearing, and have had a just verdict entered in their case." And with both of these individuals, this has proven to not just be words, to not just be something that they're saying that sounds good or makes them look good, but it is actually something that they have gone above and beyond to make a reality. And a quote that I actually saw in the library when I was at law school at William & Mary by Blaise Pascal, and the quote is that justice and power must be brought together so that whatever is just may be powerful and whatever is powerful may be just. And for both of these individuals, I really have seen the confluence of justice and power being brought together, and I truly believe that that will continue as they go forward. I also want to note Judge Hoffman actually received the Career Achievement Trailblazer Award for the Women's Bar, the one and only man who has ever received that award. And he actually won that this year, and that was specifically in recognition of all he has done with the behavioral health docket. And we do look forward to see Judge Lewis carrying that forward in the General District Court. And so to both of these judges, congratulations. We are so proud of you, so happy for you, so thankful that you're part of our bars. You represent yourselves and your cities and the bar so very well. And on behalf of the Women's Bar, I will present you gifts.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. At this time, the court will recognize Mr. Murphy to make a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that a copy of these proceedings be spread upon the record of the court.
And the court grants your motion and directs these proceedings to be spread by our court reporter. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor, I have another motion,
Yes.
if it please the court. I move that a copy of the proceedings be forwarded to Judge Hoffman and Judge Lewis.
And the court grants that motion as well, and so directs. For all of you all who have joined us, I want to say thank you again on behalf of all of the judges here and behalf of the City of Newport News and the various people that are gathered for celebrating with us. Before we adjourn, I will let you know that there is a reception across the breezeway there and in the foyer of City Hall. At this time, the court will adjourn. Court's adjourned.